was just messing around on TikTok and looking at the creator tools, and I finally figured out the Q&A section. And there was something that came up a lot in there, but it's also come up in my real life, it's come up in my DMs before, and it's really sad because I know that some of the people who ask me this question are asking on my behalf. They're honestly asking me how I deal with something, but I can't help but wonder if some of them are also asking for themselves, because they ask me frequently about something that I'd say is the number one reason people who have a passion for YouTube and TikTok and just social media in general end up giving up and quitting, even if they could have really gone somewhere with it. And it's hate comments. People regularly ask me how I deal with hate comments. How can I get through seeing the nasty things that people say about me? And unfortunately, I wish I had a simple cure-all. I wish I had an answer that could help not only me, but everyone who has to deal with hate comments, because I know that it's not as simple as just ignore it. That's, to me, is similar to telling someone with depression to just not feel sad and think of something happy instead. So unfortunately, I'm not ever going to be able to say, oh, just follow these simple steps and magically it's going to be so easy for you to create content. You're not going to have to deal with any bullying anymore. I think the reason I'm able to deal with haters online better than most people can, and I don't let them deter me from creating the content that I want to create, is because of my unique perspective that comes from the things that have happened to me within my lifetime. I was a bullied kid. I went through heavy bullying, although it didn't generally turn physical. It was extremely emotionally and mentally taxing for me. I mean, I literally had kids hang out of the bus window and tell me how they wanted me to kill myself, that they hoped they wouldn't see me at school the next day because it would be a better day if I wasn't there. That takes a toll on a child's psyche. And I'm talking, this was like middle and high school. My first day when I moved to a new school, I was doing relatively well. I was getting on with people. I was making friends. As soon as lunch period started, one of the most popular kids in the school decided to make a nasty comment about my hair. And from that moment on, I was bully bait. Because if the top dog in the school was going to say something nasty, everyone was going to follow suit, because they either wanted to be his friend so they could be like him, or they wanted to be on his good side. So whether they agreed with what he was doing or not, they were going to continue to stand by him because they didn't want to be in my position. And it messed me up back then. Getting bullied really screwed with me. It gave me a lot of mental health problems. It gave me a very skewed view of who I was as a person. I was never good enough for anyone else, so I wasn't good enough for myself. And that continued until I graduated high school. The first time something truly amazing happened to me when I was younger was right before my high school graduation. We had something that probably a lot of high schools have something similar of. It wasn't quite a beauty pageant, but a bunch of people who were like female presenting would enter this competition. You would set up these little boxes saying, you know, what you were going to college for and what you were passionate about, and just little about me's basically. You would put them in different stores in the community, and people could vote for you to be the pageant winner. And the thing was, they had to pay per vote. This wasn't just write somebody's name on a sheet and whoever wins the popularity contest wins. Like, people had to actually fork over their hard-earned money. In 2008, during a huge economic recession where people were losing their homes, their jobs, their cars, they had to pay. And it was me, two cheerleaders, and one of the most popular girls in the school, and I can't remember who else now because it was a while ago. But the one girl who was super popular during our rehearsal for graduation, she kept telling people, I have it in the bag, I've already won this, like, I already know, I've seen people putting their, money and their votes in my box all over the city, like, I've got this. And people truly believed it. They were ready to congratulate her at graduation. And the day comes and we're standing on these stone steps and they called my name. And I looked more or less like I do now, only my hair was longer. I had floofy, like Helena Bonham Carter hair. I was wearing all black. I had skulls on my fingernails. The radio station was waiting there to interview me, and even they looked a little surprised, but were like, hey, good for you. And there were a bunch of people who had the nerve to approach my mother and be like, isn't your kid a little gothic to be winning pageants like this? And she was pretty much just like, you know. So yeah, that was my first really positive experience, and it was one of the first times in my teenage life that I smiled and meant it. It wasn't this fake for the camera smile. I was truly happy in that moment because I knew, even if, you know, I don't know who all voted for me, but even if it was only like 3 people, the amount of money they had to have put into those boxes to ensure that I would be the one who won that contest, it astounded me. I couldn't believe that people cared that much about me. And it's one of those moments I look back on sometimes and just smile about, because I'm like, hey, that was pretty cool. And even if I never have a big moment like that again, that moment came at the exact time I needed it to in my life. And no, it didn't cure everything. I still had mental illness. I still got bullied and everything. But it was the doorway to what was to come. After that, I started college. It was a fresh, clean slate. I saw some of those kids who were popular in high school wandering the hallways of my college looking completely lost, because guess what? Nobody gave a damn about them anymore. They meant nothing. They were nobody. They were on the same level as everyone else, and they didn't know what to do with themselves. Meanwhile, I was thriving. I was making friends with people who were actually like me. I was finding more people who looked like me, who thought like me, who felt the way I did about the world, and having an amazing time. After college, I did something that I recommend just about everyone do. If you are someone who is physically, financially, and mentally able to do this, I always recommend forcing yourself to go on a big trip alone. Go out of state or out of the country by yourself and really take a chance to get to know who you are deep down as a person, because it's good to be around friends and family, but sometimes you can start taking on aspects of their personalities and losing sight of who you are. So I think it's important to force yourself to be alone sometimes. And I did that. I went to 2 different states on my own. I went to a different country to meet my best friend in person for the first time, all on my own. And I planned everything by myself, and I grew so much. Each time I left where I was and went somewhere new on my own, I got to dictate everything that happened from that point forward, for the most part, at least with my personal life. And I loved it. I got to choose who I wanted to associate myself with. I got to choose where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to spend my money. And it felt great to have that sense of freedom. And beyond that, when I was younger, just like a lot of people, like teenager, early 20s, every time I got a hate comment on YouTube or something, I'd get so pissed off. I'd be sitting there just bashing away on the keyboard like, fuck you and stuff. But guess what? Now that I'm in my 30s, I've got a lot more life experience. I've learned I do not give a shit. And I know that's hard. I know a lot of people are never going to be able to reach that point. And I'm sorry. I wish you could have my mentality, because it makes life online a lot easier. Even if this video was filled with 100% pure rage, hate comments, and people telling me they hope I die, I legitimately find it hilarious, because here I am, thriving, happy, streaming every night, sharing my art with the world, turning my art into a career, potentially becoming a part business owner. And all you have to do with your time is yell at a stranger online over something that doesn't even matter. When you break it down like that, it's kind of hilarious. And one of 2 things is going to happen with that person. One is, I'm never going to see them again. If I'm never going to see them again, why should I care about what they had to say to me? And the other thing that could potentially happen is they're going to show up on several videos, and it's gonna boost my engagement. Even if they're just spouting off hate comments, I'm still going to directly benefit from those hate comments. So keep them coming. I love it. I'm getting pushed out to more people now. Same with TikTok. But yeah, to wrap this video up, I'm sorry that there's not a cure-all. I'm sorry that I can't hold your hand and guide you through it and say this is exactly how to get through it and make sure that hate comments don't bother you, because everyone's different. We've all had different life experiences. We've all had different varying levels of hate online. Just remember, that person doesn't matter. They're an angry stranger. They can't do anything to you for the most part. If they do try to do something to you, there are rules put in place that can help you with that. Just stop worrying so much about what a mindless stranger online thinks about you. If you know you're awesome, you're awesome. If I know you're awesome and I think you're awesome, cool beans. Tell them to get bent. But as always, do something that makes you happy today, so long as you're not hurting anyone else, and I'll see everyone again soon. Yeah, see ya.